Hey guys, you're watching TechRadar. We are at an exclusive Microsoft Xbox One X event testing out a couple of games. We've got Middle-earth, Shadow of War and Rise of the Tomb Raider.
So the first game we checked out was Middle-earth, Shadow of War. Now this is a game that's already come out, but it's going to be receiving an Xbox One X enhancement patch when the Xbox One X is released on November 7th. And first impressions were very, very positive. I was sitting very, very close to that TV, far closer than you would ever sit in your living room. And even at that distance, it was remarkably smooth and crisp with not a jagged edge in sight. Textures were nice and clean. So we're playing here on a Samsung TV. We haven't been given the exact model number, but that obviously means it's going to be an HDR10 display rather than Dolby Vision. But given that, you can kind of still look at the highlights in the clouds, and that real nice HDR brightness is really shining through. So the environments looked really quite excellent. Every single blade of grass was visible without a jagged edge in sight, and all the textures were nice and clean and crisp. Draw distance was very good, and because of the extra resolution of 4K, you could see quite a lot of detail at quite a far distance before any sort of blur or anything set in. Enemies looked good, all their animations seemed smooth and fluid, and with the 4K you're really seeing kind of everything that they've put into the game. You don't get the sense that anything's being downgraded or downsampled to try and fit it into a 1080p display. Shadow of War is really a game which is quite murky and brown, apart from the small glints of very bright white light that you'll see throughout the game. The HDR really allowed these to kind of shine through and show them off really quite nicely. So, first impressions from Middle-earth Shadow of War is that it might just be one of the more impressive games on the Xbox One X. They've done a very good job with this entry in the Middle-earth series. So the second game we tried out was Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is also receiving an Xbox One X patch. Rise of the Tomb Raider was an absolute HDR delight. Now, several points you get little peaks of light coming through, and the brightness enabled by HDR is really quite impressive. Definitely it kind of adds to that atmospheric effect when you enter into an area and you have just a few glints of light coming through and entering into the tomb itself. There's one section in particular where you're kind of shown off the level that you'll be traversing through, where you kind of come into the area and there's some fantastic HDR bloom really illuminating the area and really showing you the most of what HDR10 is capable of. But it's not just in the environments where HDR really shines. Little bits of water on Lara kind of glint in that really realistic way thanks to HDR, and generally the whole image has this lovely sense of depth to it, as the blacks are blacker and the whites are whiter, and it does essentially exactly what you'd hope HDR would be capable of. So overall, Rise of the Tomb Raider seems like an absolute feast for HDR, and a really nice showcase of what exactly the Xbox One X is capable of. In terms of detail was also very good. You kind of notice some little bits of detailing on Lara's clothes, which wouldn't have been possible in 1080p. So overall, very impressed with the 4K on Rise of the Tomb Raider. So there is, of course, a reason why Microsoft is choosing to show off these games for the Xbox One X. And the reason is, they do a really good job with showing off what the new hardware is capable of. But not every Xbox One X game is going to tick those boxes. Some of them will just be 4K, some of them will just make use of HDR, and some of them will just see boosts in frame rate. So it's really going to be up to developers to make sure they get the most out of that console. Microsoft themselves don't mandate that you have to hit all three things. As long as you've redone the game with the new Xbox One X dev kits, it counts as enhanced as long as you've issued that patch. So there might end up being a disparity in the quality levels of these games. We definitely know that the bar they can aim for is very high, but whether developers will actually reach that when, at least initially, the install base for the Xbox One X will be quite small, is still yet to be proven. What we've seen so far makes us very hopeful for the future of the Xbox One X console, and the idea of having this kind of Xbox One family where everything's intercompatible and nothing's exclusive to the new console. The potential is there, and now developers just need to make the most out of it. So thank you so much for watching our preview of the Xbox One X console. We've got a full guide on the site to everything you need to know about the upcoming machine. And we've also got a hands-on review, which is our written preview of how we think the console is shaping up. I've been John Porter from TechRadar. See ya.